Good evening for the Silver Lake School Committee meeting for Thursday, April the 14th. Thank you for coming. I just want to say that some of our members aren't here. Paula Hatch is in Worcester with her son Jake, who was chosen as our Vocational Student of the Year. Joe Shays is under the weather. Mark Guidaboni is on vacation and can't even be reached by, what is it, Skype or something?
Skype, no.
And we couldn't send smoke signals, so here we are. So thank you for those who are here. And we're going to move around I just want a general permission from the board that I'm going to move some of the items out of order in respect for that we can have everything. So would a motion to agree with the chair on that?
So moved.
Second.
Mark seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, so ordered. Is there anybody here from the public that would like to make a comment about anything? Okay, thank you. The approval of minutes from March the 10th.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Jason seconds. Is there discussion, comment, or anything? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, so ordered. Maureen, I'm going to go to your building and grounds and safety. Do you have a motion?
Only to say that we're ongoing with that town meeting is coming up about the Kingston land purchase. That's probably the biggest topic right now, so we won't meet again until after town meeting.
Very good, thank you very much.
Athletic fees?
Oh, and I do have one more thing. Last time we met, the athletic fees, I missed one, and when I got home, I realized it. If I could find it, it would be in great shape, yeah. We had agreed to increase some of the athletic fees, and I neglected to bring up the fact that we're going to be increasing the middle school athletic fees. They're currently $50, and we're going to increase them to $120. I realize that seems like a big jump, but again, they have not been touched in 10 years, and we're doing a lot more there than we were 10 years ago. The other thing is that I neglected to say that when we talked about increasing the high school activities, drama, a few other things, there's a couple of things listed on there that I did not mean to include. So both the debate team and the decathlon team members will not be increased, but they'll remain at the $200 per year. And I have some pages to give to Christine.
Did we vote an increase at the last meeting
Yes.
for them? Then you would have to move reconsideration to withdraw that part of that motion.
Well, actually, I didn't bring up the middle school, and I didn't bring
No,
up...
the middle school is a separate thing.
Right, but I did not bring up the debate and decathlon teams either. They're not really...
You didn't mention them.
No.
Okay, then that's fine. Okay, so now you need a motion for the middle school, and you're going from 50 to...
40.
Huh?
40.
Yeah, we're going for, I'll move that from the middle school fees, which include cross-country basketball and track, that we increase the fees per year, per student, from $40 to $120.
40 to 120. Is there a second?
Second.
Jason seconds. Comments, discussions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, I vote no, and it passes.
one more item is that in the high school, that we leave the debate team and the decathlon team members at the current rate where they are, $200.
Do you need a motion for that? Or are they at 200 now?
They're at 200 now.
Then you don't need a new motion.
Okay, I didn't want it to get mixed up with the other stuff, just to make it.
Okay, so we don't need a motion because they are where they are.
Yep,
Okay,
so I withdraw my motion.
thank you, accepted. Okay, now we have a posted 7 o'clock meeting on school choice. I'll recognize the auditors, but if there is a debate, I have to stop it at 7 because we have to take the school choice because we are bound by law to post that at a specific time. But I'd let the auditors start their report.
Whenever you want me.
Pardon me?
I can go whenever you want me to.
Well, then why don't we start with you now? Understanding it's 7, I gotta do that.
Ken, you can cut me off.
Thank you.
How about, can I introduce you first?
Sure.
Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead.
This is Grady Connor from Lynch, Malloy, Marini. Grady is a partner at the firm. We've been working with this firm for several years. They take care of our annual financial audit, our single audit for the grant programs, as well as they audit our end-of-year report. And Grady's here tonight to present our 2015 audit.
Well, thank you. Again, Christine has handed out a summary of what I'm going to talk about. Again, it's kind of, you folks have all received the financial statement audit that we've issued. The primary purpose of our audit is to express an opinion on the district's financial statements. The audit's conducted in accordance with government auditing standards. That also requires us to issue another report about over the district's internal controls over financial reportings that could have a direct and material effect on the financial statements. And as Christine mentioned, because the district spends more than $500,000 in federal awarded money, a single audit is required, which is an audit on compliance with federal grants. And for fiscal 15, the district spent $1.8 million in federal monies. So what were the results of the audit? So as I said, our primary purpose is to issue the independent auditor's report. And we issued an unmodified opinion, which in auditing terms means that your financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects in accordance with GAAP, okay? And that's the opinion that you're looking for. So the financial statements themselves and the schedules. First set of financial statements presented, they're called the government-wide financial statements, which report the district on a full accrual basis of accounting. And for fiscal 15, there was a new GASB number 68, which came into implementation, which required the district to report its share of the net pension liability. So the net position of the district on a full accrual basis is reported into 3 categories. The aggregate net position was $32.1 million. The largest piece of that was the capital assets, which is essentially the district's buildings, of $44.5 million, which is net less the bonds outstanding on that debt. Restricted net position of $1.7 million. The majority of that is the $1.5 million that DOR calculated at year end, which was the excess E&D that was to be returned to the towns in fiscal 16. The remaining balance of that is the revolving funds and the grants. And the final component of net position, the unrestricted net position, the district reported a deficit of $14.2 million at June 30th. And essentially that's comprised of the net OPEB obligation of $10 million and the net pension liability of $6.7 million. Okay. At the last actuarial evaluation for the OPEB, the unfunded actuarial accrued liability is $26.1 million. In fiscal 18, GASB statement number 75 is going to be required to be implemented, which will require that total unfunded liability to be recorded on the district's financial statements. Okay. While the district has, I believe, voted to establish an OPEB trust fund, at this point in time they have not contributed anything towards that. So for fiscal 15, the overall net position reported a decrease of $2.1 million from the prior year, and the table there basically shows the reasons for that. Again, full accrual basis, you're picking up the depreciation on the buildings, the increase in the OPEB liability is about $1.5 million, and then the increase in the pension of about $300,000, and then the deferred outflows on the pension were positive, so a net effect of $21,000. Okay. Next set of statements are the fund basis financial statements, which with a few modifications of the district's balances at year end. The general fund reported $3.7 million, up about $600,000 from the prior year. Again, as you folks know, the primary reason for that is the settlement with Pembroke, that money coming in. The fund balance, again, is comprised of the $1.4 million reserved, which was returned this year to the towns, $516,000 of the capital improvements that were approved as part of the budget for 16. You carry over encumbrances of $200,000 into the next year. And then the remaining $1.5 million of unassigned fund balance, which again essentially is all that you would be allowed to have pursuant to DOR at year end. Then again, on the non-major governmental funds, pick up all the other funds, reported a positive balance of $297,000. Again, that's all your grants, special revenue funds at the end of the year. A few small deficits for timing on the receipts. Budgetary comparison schedule is presented as required supplementary information. Again, the district appropriated $24 million.
Excuse me, sir.
Yep.
Just hold 1 second. I would like to have a motion to recess our public meeting for the purpose of going to the special posted meeting on school choice.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. We are now in the public hearing for school choice, and we do have a motion, I think. Would you give it to Mark?
Okay.
Oh, Mark, okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
I
Mark.
don't know if I have it.
Move that the Silver Lake Regional School District not participate in school choice for the 2016-2017 school year.
Is there a second? Maureen seconds. Is there any public discussion or comments concerning this item on school choice public hearing? Would anybody like to make a comment? 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. I will now vote on the motion by Mr. Audrey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. I now have a motion to conclude this special meeting on school choice. Maureen moves. Mark, Ed seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. We now convene the regular meeting. How's that?
Catch your breath.
Did you like that?
So again, going back to the budgetary comparison schedule, again, shows basically the general fund. District appropriated $24.1 million, basically spent $24 million. You had a savings on your appropriation side of about $100,000. And then on the positive side, on the revenues of $231,000. Most of that was the net metering credits. Overall, positive on the budgetary basis before the special item, which is the settlement with Pembroke. So again, came out on the positive side for fiscal 15. The next report, as I said, we're required to issue is in accordance with gas government auditing standards. And again, we reported no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies as a result of our audit over the financial reporting. And we reported no material non-compliances with any laws for fiscal 15. As I said, you spent more than $500,000, so you had a single audit. The major program that we tested for fiscal 15 was the special education cluster, which was the bulk of the money. I think it was about $1.1 million that is spent in the SPED cluster for fiscal 15, and we reported no compliance findings with that grant for fiscal 15. So there's a kind of a quick overview of what the results of the audit were. Any questions or anything that I can answer for anybody?
I have a couple, but
Sure.
if anybody else have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Okay, I have 2 points.
Sure.
I work for several schools, so this OPEB thing,
OPEB, everybody's favorite, yes.
yes, and do you know by chance what is our total obligation?
The unfunded obligation at the last actuarial evaluation was, I believe, $26.1 million.
And this is a thing, I'm going to make a general comment. Every school I go to is basically in the same, if anybody calls this to order, there'll be a financial disaster, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, again, from GASB's standpoint, you know, it's putting everybody across the country on the same playing field, that everybody's reporting that, so it's not like Silver Lake is any different.
No, I know that.
But, right now, again, the question that most people have is what to do about it. Again, you're paying your costs as you go every year. So, again, when Gatsby's, right now, the financial statements, I believe, you're picking up about $10 million liability, because that 26, you know, you're picking up a piece of that every year. When fiscal 18 comes along, that $26 million is gonna become the liability, so.
And the point I'm bringing is sooner or later, school districts, and I've been talking about this for many years, and saying that we gotta do something.
Yeah,
And I know it's
absolutely.
true of everybody, but someday it's gonna hit, and it'll be a budget disaster, but it's gonna hit,
Yeah.
okay?
And right, and most regions are addressing it to the degree that they can, but the objective is that you're should be addressing it each year with some amount of money.
Yeah, and even the money that people are putting are nowhere near their
No,
responsibility. Now, E&D.
E&D, yes.
E&D, for the record, should not be used as an expense situation to supplement a budget without a vote of the communities.
Correct.
That's for the record. I'll tell you why we did that later.
Okay.
Any other comments? Sir, we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sorry for
Thank
the
you,
slight
Brady.
No
interruption.
problem.
but
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Brady.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back to the calendar. Go ahead.
You have in your packet the draft 2016-2017 school calendar. As I've mentioned, the calendar was put forth, few changes to it this year. One of them is that we blocked off in squares the days off. It is much more visual for parents to see. I think it will be much easier to read. Last time we met, actually, you know what? The
You were
calendar
worried about
that's-
some dates in
Yeah,
March.
it's not on this calendar. We gave him the wrong version. On this calendar, I apologize.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, I didn't
That's my
catch that. In March, on March 17th is going to be the half PD day. I apologize, we printed out the wrong version. The Department of Education finally decided when the testing was going to be. It was very nice of them to do that. And so by having the half PD day on March 17th, we know we won't interfere with the MCAS testing that is required. Also, we thought we might have the luck of the leprechauns that day, since it's St. Patty's Day. So the half PD day on the calendar, if you just want to make a note, and when we finally have our new top of all the school committee members, we'll change that. But March 17th is going to be our half spring PD day. So other than that, the calendar is set. November is odd this year. Again, November 8th, there's a little bit of an election happening. Some of you might have seen a couple commercials on television about it. So we will be closing the schools on November 8th because 2 of our schools in our school system are voting places, and we can't hold school on those days because it will probably be a very busy day. That will be an odd week because Friday, November 11th is also Veterans Day. It always falls on that day, so it will be an unusual week for the students. There'll be 2 odd days off that week instead of the normal Tuesday after the Columbus Day weekend.
Okay.
Jim,
You mean-
question?
Comment, Jim?
No, the squares are days off
Squares are days off.
with the circles,
Circles are half days.
half days.
Okay. In view of the explanation that the superintendent gave, I would accept the motion to accept the calendar for 2016, 2017. Maureen moves, Jim Loma seconds. Discussion, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, so ordered.
Thank you.
Now we're going to go to Mr. Mulcahy is not with us. He's up enjoying and is with our Student of the Year. I recognize the Vice Principal for the purposes of hitting number 2 on that, if you would.
Absolutely, thank you, Mr. Green. Last month, Mr. Mulcahy, I believe, presented to you the school improvement plan to look over for this month to hopefully ask for a vote. So in the plan itself reflects the changes that we made that coincide with the latest information for our state report cards. So we are currently in a level 2 category, so we did submit the plan a little earlier in the school year. The big things to highlight in the plan itself are a couple of changes. One of the changes that will also coincide with a change in the handbook is the breathalyzer policy that we currently have. Right now, our policy is to only breathalyze students that we believe are under the influence. We are recommending amending that policy to have every student breathalyzed upon entry to school-sponsored events, specifically dances and proms. We would annotate that specifically in the handbook, reserving the right to breathalyze students at other school events as well. A majority of schools in the area have adopted this practice, including Plymouth North, Marshfield, Duxbury, and I'm forgetting a fourth area school right now. We're looking to adopt a similar policy, not because we necessarily think that there's a problem, but just to provide a safer environment for our students. So we would make that change. We've recommended it, the school council's recommended it in the improvement plan. If that was approved, we would also make that change in the handbook.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. The second substantial change that's recommended out of the school improvement plan would be regarding report cards. Currently, we don't print our progress reports anymore. We did that for a long time. Now parents have the ability to go into Power School and get live updates of grades. So beginning this year, we stopped printing progress reports. Next year, we would also like to stop printing report cards. Roughly it's about 5,000 pages of paper that we do print to send out report cards every year. So we're looking at this from a green perspective, but also from the fact that we view it as redundant. When we see the statistics of parents who do log into Power School, people do check and people do have access for that. So the school council has made that recommendation. Whenever report cards were to come out, Mr. Mulcahy would send out an all-call. He'd use it's Blackboard now. We're upgrading to another system. We'd use that, send out a telephone call, an email, text alert to let families know that, hey, your report card grades are getting posted. Log in and check them at this time on this date. So that is
I
the
would just
plan.
make it,
Sure.
there are people like me in the world. Will they be taken care of?
Those people absolutely be taken care of. If anyone wants a paper copy, they can call us. We will absolutely furnish them a paper copy. All right, so that.
I protect my constituency of
Absolutely,
one.
and we respect that. So we are, respectfully asking that the committee put up a vote for acceptance for the 2016-17, 2017-18 school improvement plan.
Is there a motion? So moved. Is there a second? Mark, are there any questions, comments? Jim?
Who's going to be doing all the breathalyzing?
So we would use the current administrative staff. Basically, for any event, if you've been to our red carpet events, we queue the students in the back of the building here while the public's all in the front. We would have our administrative staff in the back of the building using the available classroom space to get everybody in there.
Is there a cost, and then what happens if there's positive results?
So the cost, right now, we currently have 4 breathalyzers. PTO has graciously agreed to grant fund us the
That's a
purchase
lot
of at least 2
lot
more.
of tests.
It is a lot of people. It can go pretty quick, though. So we're hoping to have 6 or 7 operational for next year. So there would be no additional cost, budgetary cost coming with that. If there is, a positive test, it would then follow the disciplinary process laid out in the handbook.
Thank you.
You know?
Further comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, so ordered, thank you. And then we're going to go to Mr. DePiel. Does you have a donation for us to accept?
We do. One of our teachers, Andrea Lewis, an ELA teacher in our school, had reached out for a grant, and it was a Community Spirit Award grant, and she is the recipient of a $500 Community Spirit mini grant from the Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare Foundation. So I request that we accept this.
I'd accept the motion and ask the principal to send a thank you for whoever is helping us. Mr. Audrey votes yes. Maureen seconds the motion. Is there discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, so ordered. So that takes care of the items that we wanted to make sure we vote. So now we'll go back to the regular agenda and go to the Silver Lake Education Association.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Casey Rakowski, the Vice President at the high school for the SLEA. And our major update is to let you know that many of our teachers won awards at last week's Plymouth County Educational Association meeting. And I wanted to go through those people who earned those awards because it's important that we recognize the wonderful things that are going on in our schools. So just to quickly go through the list, Matt Mello, Marlene Lopes, Mary Gazzola, Jenny Lynn Berry, Jay Napolitano, Megan Sweeney, Sean Donovan, Jamie Schwer, Ashley Basanti, Dawn White, Heather Bates, Ashley Ferreira, Bill McStowe, Nicole Afanasep, Hannah Close, Tony Pina, Lou Schriefer, Dave McCarthy, Stephanie Ritchie, Casey Rukowski, Jess Cahill, Beth Bloomer, Daniel Bracken, Renee Donahue, Andrea Lewis, Anna Walsh, Todd Egan, Matt Cleary, Tom McMahon, Tricia Gillespie, Val Martesian, Kim Orcutt, Annalisa Dennis, all earned awards. Of the 8 total highest nominations, 5 were from the Silver Lake Regional Schools. That included Andrea Lewis, Mary Gazzola, and Kim Orcutt from the SLEA earned the Citation Award, which is the second highest award available. And then a Kingston elementary school teacher, kindergarten,
Halifax.
was on Halifax, sorry. From Halifax was awarded the highest Blair Quinn Award.
I believe at least one person I know was recognized with you two, so Ms. Lopes, I know you, thank you and congratulations.
And Casey.
And who?
Casey.
Oh, you were too, okay, all right. All right, anything else?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, administrative review? Maureen?
Yes, the administrative review is reviewed.
Reviewed, okay, that's good. Oh, yeah, all right. Anything else on the building and grounds?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. You're not gonna get a second breath. Okay, career and technical ed?
I don't think there's been.
No meeting tonight, okay. I'll tie up the chairman and the legislative agent. First of all, there were 6 people that were chosen to meet with the Secretary of Education, and I was one of them. And therefore, being shy and not willing to talk money with anybody, I did address the Secretary of Education and reminded him that in 1993, Chapter 70 has been underfunded by $14.6 billion. He said he was aware of that. However, his answer, which I found out was very consistent, he said the same thing all the time, is that it's not the amount of money, but how you spend it. That was his answer. So I would look for no relief from those people. Also, if you want to look at the 2017 budget, the House budget came out yesterday. It's about the same amount of dollars as the governor's. Chapter 70 is about the same amount of money. A big difference is the governor's budget gave $20 million to those school districts that are affected by the charter schools. But the House budget only has $5 million. The charter bill is going to be very interesting, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But other than that, the House gave a few more bucks for regional transportation. I believe the Senate will give a few more dollars, and then it goes to the conference committee. And we are fortunate that our state senator, Senator DiMacedo, is one of the 6 members of the conference committee, and I have talked to him with, I think I shared the idea of the committee on that one. So we'll see how that comes out. But the Senate, the House will come back the week of April 25th and debate the budget, and then it will go to the Senate. I expect them to vote around the 20th of May, and then it will go to the conference committee, so we'll have to see what happens when it goes there. Now, the charter school bill that the Senate passed, in my opinion, will not pass. The governor is against it because the bill says that in order for the charter schools to to go through, the comprehensive schools would have to get $200 million a year extra for the next 7 years. That is not going to happen. And also, what they didn't tell the people, that part of the bill is attached to the billionaire tax. There's a billionaire tax. I don't think that's going to happen, so I don't think anything's going to happen to charter schools until it appears on the 2016 budget. And it's the question on the budget, on the ballot, is to increase the charter schools in the Commonwealth. Okay, that's all I got to say. Anybody want to comment, question? No, okay. Negotiations?
We're all set.
All set, okay. PAC?
Jason, could you do the sound
Jason?
The last regular PAC meeting was pretty standard. We're getting ready to review the budget. Of course, the budget for our collaboratives is a much different process. That'll be forthcoming and voted on in the June meeting, and that's currently where we are right now.
All right. Policy?
No meeting.
No meeting. Revenue Subcommittee?
No meeting.
No meeting. Treasurer, have you got it, Jason? Okay.
There's currently 15 regular warrants circulating for a total of $2,231,025.63. There's also 3 payroll warrants circulating, totaling $2,196,644.56. The total warrants tonight is $4,427,670.19.
Thank you. And the warrants are circulating, so please sign them. Revolving fund, I don't think we have anything on that, right?
Nope, other than to say that the program we spoke about last month is being funded through the Kingston schools. We established a Kingston revolving fund. And so the program will be beginning next year. And the Kingston School Committee decided to vote for it because the majority of the students were from Kingston.
Okay. Sleep study. Oh, Chrissy, okay.
Sure. Our sleep needs subcommittee met last week to finalize our survey to families. We're exploring the possibility of changing the start times of schools so that students at the secondary level have a later start time. We're anticipating that the survey will be live from April 27th, Wednesday, until May 8th, Friday. The survey will give staff, families, and community members the opportunity to provide feedback on possible start times for all schools, including an option to not change at all. We're really looking for input and feedback. There will be a Blackboard Connect message sent out to families with a link to the survey.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. We're going to go Director of Business Services, Christine.
Thank you. Tonight I was just going to focus on any of our new deficits that have cropped up during this past month. We're 3/4 of the way through the year. We're doing pretty well. The one thing that has changed this month on the first page of the detail of the financial is the telephone account in the superintendent's office. We are now reflecting a deficit in that account. And we had talked about this earlier in the year and then also during the budget process of how the E-rate funding has dropped off quicker than we had anticipated. So we are experiencing a deficit right now in that account of $1,700. There are no other new deficits, but there are a few that have grown, most specifically in that same area, in the telephone area. That was all for tonight.
Okay, well, we'll come to you a little later, I think. Assistant Superintendent. Oh, one of my favorite subjects. Chrissy.
I will start off with the coordinated program review.
Okay.
Representatives from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education are here with us for the month, reviewing our CTE program, special education programs, and English language learning programs. They've spent the entire week here in Silver Lake between the middle school and high school, and also with Elliot at the CTE program. They conducted interviews and observations with staff and families. And they will be finishing up their review for all districts after April vacation, where they will be in Kingston. The CPR exit interview with the representatives from DESE, Superintendent Blackwood, myself, and Mrs. Grable is scheduled for Thursday, April 28th at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Park MCAS, the first round of MCAS testing, which was ELA at the high school, is complete. Our high school students will be taking the math MCAS May 17th and 18th, and the science MCAS June 1st and 2nd. The middle school completed its second round of the park infrastructure trial. This was a time for students to practice taking the assessment online and also a time for our tech department to test the infrastructure. I'm happy to report that we are in fabulous shape. I want to commend Jim Dupeel's attention to detail. Mr. Dupeel and his staff were able to predict, plan, and make adjustments in the moment. We are more than ready for the full implementation of the state's online assessment beginning on April 26th. That's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The superintendent, we did your two things.
We did, but could I recognize someone?
You want to recognize somebody?
Yes, please.
Permission granted.
Thank you.
I wanted to recognize Debbie Grace and Tracy Kelleher. They are two of our integrated preschool staff. And Debbie Grace has been one of the movers and shakers in getting our integrated preschool playground going this year. And I can't begin to tell you how exciting it is that this weekend thanks to her and her dedicated staff, they're going to be breaking ground this weekend on getting the playground going. So it is astounding to me the amount of money that has been raised and the dedicated efforts. And I did just want to recognize, she had come in before. She's being very quiet. I was sort of hoping when we acknowledge and scheduled visitors, she would say something. But since she chose not to, I'm going to. So I personally really want to recognize her because truly this is an astounding, are we up to, I lost track, $150?
$200,000.
$220,000 within a year. So thank you. Incredible. Yep. So if you want a brick, I don't know if you heard her or not to throw at me for laying for laying on the walkway in. So, but anyway, it's an incredible effort, and we're incredibly excited. And I believe that there's going to be an opening June.
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
But we'll get back to you. But
Okay.
they're hoping to install it over April vacation, which means we would be able to use it when the kids come back, but it won't be completely as pretty as we would like it to look, but we will be able to play the hope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
We got line item transfer, Christine, right? I asked for it last week, right? Last month.
So one of the things Mr. Creed had asked for was he was interested in looking at some of the areas for line item transfers. Historically, what we have done is in June, when we have an idea of the total deficits in areas, we move money when we know where there are overages in other areas. One area that Mr. Creed was particularly concerned about was substitutes. Substitutes is an area when we build the budget, we always say it's a line item most likely to be wrong. What Mr. Creed had pointed out to us was, some of you may know Michaela Gill, our other assistant principal, recently had a baby. She is absolutely stunning, by the way, and I might be biased. And we hired Mr. Azevedo, our former middle school principal, who was kind enough to come and fill in for us because we needed that extra set of hands. And Mr. Creed was concerned about the impact that would have on our budget. So one of the things we talked about was, again, we don't know how much in the red that item will go. We know it will go in the red. Substitutes have gone in the red every year since I've been here. I can't remember a year it hasn't gone in the red. Traditionally, what happens is there is an offset in our teaching line item, that there are some teachers who may be out on maternity leave that is unpaid. There may be some teachers who are out on a sabbatical or whatever it may be. So there's usually an offset, and that is traditionally where we have made the change.
Excuse me, I'm going to correct you. I specifically asked for it, and I want that line item transfer. I asked for it specifically at the last meeting, and that's why it's on this agenda.
Yep.
Therefore, whatever we have, X dollars was promised to Mr. Azevedo, which was fine. I have no problem with that. But the last report she gave, we were $13,500 left. The commitment to Mr. Azevedo was $13,000. Nothing wrong with that. But I asked specifically how you're going to balance that line. I don't think anybody in the committee didn't hear me or didn't object. Therefore, I asked for it. The very next day, I called Lisa and put it on the agenda. So I want that transfer now. As a matter of fact, Many schools transfer money at every meeting. The idea, I've protested this for years, but I asked this one specifically. Maureen,
Which lines are we talking about?
the line item substitute teachers at the high school.
It's on page 2 of the detail, I'm sorry, page 3 of the detail.
Okay.
The substitute
And-
account is the very first account that we see. There's still a balance there of $7,034.
Right? So, and you want to move that where, John?
Oh, no, it's up to them to tell me. They know it's gonna be in deficit. They can't
Okay,
deny
but
that.
how could we know now?
Because you promised the money. Mr. Acevedo was promised $13,000.
Uh-huh.
At the last meeting, the surplus in that account was $13,500.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, if you take 13 from 13,500, that's $500. They pay substitutes $500 a day. I gotta believe they're gonna have more than 10 absentees in the last 2 months of the year.
I guess I'm confused at what the point that you're trying to make.
Because I think when there's a line item in deficit, you have to make up the deficit.
John, there's not a line item in deficit yet.
Yeah, but we know it is.
But
You
it's not
can't
yet.
anticipate the future. I don't care. In May, if it's negative, John, then fine, we move the money in May, but right now, there's $7,034.24 in the account.
I'm disappointed that nobody brought that point up when I brought it up at the last meeting. Well, we'll let it go, but it's a negative as far as I'm concerned. And I asked for something, and you weren't even prepared to do it.
I believe that I thought you had wanted to discuss that. I didn't.
No, I
realize that
did
you
not.
wanted
I
the
said
actual
I wanted a
transfer.
line item. Did I? Do you have the minutes for that meeting? What's the next agenda? Old business, administrative building,
No meetings.
community outreach,
Paula's not here.
okay. Fiscal 17 budget, anybody wants to make any comments or anything? Other than this? Chapter 70 resolution letter,
It's
in the
it's
packet.
in the packet.
And the no fossil fuel support letter,
Yes, it's in the packet.
okay. The vice principal, do you have an updated thing to distribute?
Yep, I gave you should have a packet in front of you of
Okay.
the handbook.
Do you want to make any comment on it?
The only comment I would make is there's a cover page that has the major policy changes listed at the top, and then some of the edits that you'll see as you look through the handbook itself. The 3 policy changes, the 2 of them are reflective of the change with the improvement plan. One was dealing with the breathalyzer, codifying that within the handbook. The other was changing our language to state that report cards will be distributed via Power School or via paper copy if so desired in the main office. The only other amendment to the handbook that we're requesting is to add on page 25 under grounds for serious discipline an infraction for failure to cooperate during an emergency drill or situation. As we continue to practice for emergency situations, there's a lot of time, there's a lot of potential movement that goes on there. So student cooperation is essential in those situations to make sure that everybody is safe. Those are the only substantive changes in terms of policy that are in there. The rest of the things that are listed on that cover sheet there, the front and back sheet, are basically language clarifications that were brought to us through our school council, from the parents and the students on the school council, seeking just a little more clarity in the language that exists in our handbook.
Do you need a vote on that? Or just...
Nope, that's for you to review, and Mr. Mulcahy will seek a vote on that at your next meeting.
Thank you.
May I mention one
Go
thing?
ahead.
Fred is also reviewing some recent changes in our laws for our handbook. Restraint policy is one that you, I'm sure, are aware of when we updated our policy. So Fred's reviewing some sections of our handbook during vacation week, he promised. So when we come in May, we'll send those to you as soon as we have them.
Okay. Mr. DePiel?
Yes, so one of the things I just wanted to point out is that we are planning a parent night where we're going to have a speaker come from the district attorney's office. Her name is Amanda Fowle, and she's going to speak to teen safety and social media. We're finding that our teens are using social media, and it's sometimes in an inappropriate way, and we feel that it's really prudent for us at this time to move forward and try to educate our parents on how to properly monitor that and kind of reinforce the importance of communication in an appropriate way. So that's going to be happening on May 5th, and I'll report out on it at the next school committee meeting.
Jim, is that geared toward middle school students and parents, or is it?
It's towards parents, and then our plan is to also bring her back in the fall, and then do a student piece too, and another parent piece, and then have that be a year-long message through our wellness curriculum.
Okay.
So we're really trying to solidify a message, and that's what we're going to move forward with. But again, I'll bring more information back from our next meeting after the 5th. So.
Thank you.
I have two other things, John, that had come up just recently, if I could.
No, it's not on the agenda?
Yeah, it's not for a vote or anything, it was just kind of a notification thing.
No, it's not on the agenda, it has to be on the agenda,
Okay.
okay? So, you're all done?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I just want to read the minutes from the report on the business. If you look at the last sentence, it said, Mr. Creed requested that a line item transfer take place at the April meeting. Nobody objected.
Well,
All right.
I will say for myself that you may have requested it, but once we get the information, it would be up to all of us to make that.
No, nobody objected, and it was because I gave the figures that I gave, so that's why I thought it was proper thing to ask, and I did ask.
And John, can I ask why you aren't upset about the other 7 or 8 or 9 I've already found that are in the negative?
Because, well, I presume that I knew that this one is a big item, and I wanted it handled, but nobody objected, Mark. That's why, nobody objected. Okay, I don't think we have anything else. We don't have an executive session? Okay, a motion to adjourn is in order. Maureen moves, Mark seconds, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions, so ordered.